Question 26, Don says, are there any other additions to card number 1 other than the star that are of other than the basic archetypical aspects? So Don is being, razor sharp here. Tell me so we can get rid of everything that is of no use to us. Ra says, there are details of each image seen through the cultural eye of the time of inscription. This is to be expected. Therefore, when viewing the, shall we say, Egyptian customs and systems of mythology used in the images, it is far better to penetrate to the heart of the customs, significance, or the creature's significance, rather than clinging to a culture which is not your own. Let me just say that this right here is, in essence, a flame in my heart. It's a little candle that started burning when I started my seeking, and it has gained more combustion, if you will, over time. It's interesting that Ra doesn't say, they don't tell Don this and that is astrological. I don't know why, because they'll eventually say it. But they gave us this, and this message to me is really important. Ra is in essence saying, you're looking at something that is not of your culture, right? Look beyond the symbology, the mythology. This is something that I use all the time, because we as seekers can get lost in the symbology of what things are supposed to represent. For example, you know me as a very fascinating person with Buddhism, because Buddhism is such a beautiful science, philosophy, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. I think the best way to describe it is science, is very clear-cut definitions of what is. No denying, no way to argument against it unless you have your own belief structures. And if you're not willing to destroy and obliterate those belief structures, and you'll have trouble trying to understand Buddhism. You have to destroy everything, absolutely everything. And so something new can arise, yeah? And even there in Buddhism, I have seen lots of mythology, because that's the nature of us humans. We just like to create mythology. Why? Because it's easy to explain to others. I don't understand how we are all awareness. Well, imagine that you are a screen, that's a mythology right there. Oh, everything's a screen. You see, of course, for the first-hand student, they get it, and they say, oh, that's what it means, so we're just going to use this to teach someone else. But then the teaching becomes the screen, and they forget awareness, and then the screen becomes pixels, and the whole analogy would go into a body of study. That is hindrance to me. It started to create, the idea of belief. No, we have to believe in the gods and the different deities, and these are the influences. They are referring to something that is real, but that is not real. That is a reference point. That is the finger pointing at the moon. So let me reread this, and you can see why I'm so passionate about this. Ra is talking about the iconography of the images in the Tarot for the study of the archetypical mind. The archetypical mind is a very real thing that we all experience. Nobody is exempt from this. And so there is an experience of archetypical nature that we are directed to study. Yes? But because we need to teach it in a way that our minds can grasp it, we use symbology. That symbology is put into question here to a degree, because some symbology obviously is needed to arrive at that experience. And yet the symbology can be confusing, especially those which were not, of course, intended to be there. So they are saying, There are details of each image seen through the cultural eye of the time of inscription. They just saw it and they say, this is the best way we can describe this experience or this understanding. This is to be expected, like Ra said. We all do this. Therefore, when viewing the Egyptian customs and systems of mythology, using the images, right, when looking at all these different symbols and mythological drawings, then it is far better to penetrate to the heart of custom significance or the creature's significance, rather than clinging to a culture which is not your own. Perfectly described. Do not cling to, the Ankh, Isis, and whatever else is represented in Isis is not represented as far as I know, but the Ibis, and whatever other customs that were there. Don't cling to that. Go straight into the significance of what it means. And I think that is the most fructiferous attempt that we can make in learning this.